Welcome investor. Today I'm taking you with me to explore one of the most impressive buildings in what many call the Brazilian Manhattan. This isn't just a tour, it's a real opportunity to see what kind of properties are captivating the attention of Brazil's elite and how you should think when investing in a market like this. Is it really worth it? What kind of numbers should you pay attention to? How do the best investors approach opportunities in high-end districts? Stick around, and by the end of this video you'll have a sharper view of what makes sense, when to act, and how to evaluate deals in Brazil's most premium zones. Let's get to it. Let's start with a double layer security system for entrance in the building. So this is last generation facial recognition, and then we have a luxury reception. I mean, the materials here are pretty high standards for Brazil. We have reflective champagne glass, and then of course we have extreme luxury over here. We have LED lights all over the place, comfy sofas, and I mean, here they put a lot of effort into the lighting. We have different elevators. We have two elevators and now also a third service elevator. And then here we have an office inside this room. This has Wi-Fi and also has a restroom dedicated for this area. Then we have a co-working space, this table over here. And then we have a living room over here where you can sit down, read a book and relax. Then going over here, we also have a fridge and another snack area or relax area that is complementary to the living room that we see here. I was amazed by this lighting that they place here. This is the meeting room. You can use it as an office. You can book it and use it as an office. And you can connect with Bluetooth to the monitor that is around 42 inches. Then also outside you can enjoy a parking space that is not for every apartment, but for just a few units in this case. Remember that this is a very premium area, so it's expensive to get an apartment with also the parking spot. Here we have a fancy elevator, LED lights inside as well, and then we go on to visit the amenities floor, starting with the gym, also with facial recognition, last generation. And then here we have everything you need to train. Here we were at 6:30 a.m. so this is how it would be to train at 6:30 a.m. with the sunlight. Amazing sensation. And then there is also a balcony outside for the gym area where you can see the skyline of Itaim Bibi and São Paulo. Amazing. Here we have treadmills, but also weights and machines, cardio and the rest for the fitness machine. Another balcony over here. Then we'll go on to the laundry room. In the laundry room you can use the tenants can use dryers and washers. To activate those, it's sufficient to use a QR code and an application called Omo. I know it's a funny name, but it is what it is. Then with the app you scan the code over there and then place the phone over here with a code that is generated by the app, and then you pay of course within the app. Wow, this skyline from the laundry room, amazing. I mean, this is a huge city. It doesn't end, you can see the end of the city. Then there is this billiards area. You can play billiards, and also it's like a lounge area where you can relax and have a chat with your friend. This is also complemented by a balcony over here. Still, the view is pretty nice on every side of the building. Then we go to the best of the best. I mean, this is one of the best pools I've seen in all of Latin America. This is a C-shaped pool that covers half of the full floor terrace. I mean, this is huge and fancy. From here we have a reflective glass with the view of the full city around the building. I mean, you can see this view is pretty unique. I've enjoyed several days in this building, and I can confess the sensation of this pool is amazing, one of the best of the best. Remember that this kind of lifestyle is for probably less than 1% of Brazilians, okay? Okay, let's get now into the investment analysis and simulation. Before we start, a little disclaimer: we are not brokers and we are not selling any unit in this building or in any other building, all right? This is just for informational purposes and it's not investment advice. So let's start with the numbers for the short-term rental application of a unit, a simulation of a unit in this building, right, in this period, in this year. So ARDNA gives us at this address, that is the building address, 66% occupancy rate and an average daily rate of 388 reais per day, which corresponds around $68. Okay, just to give you an idea of the price, today's price of a building, we go to Quinto Andar. It's a public website. You can check prices for renting, alugar, and prices to buy apartments in general here. So we can see that the prices, they range around the million reais basically. So between 900 and something thousand to, let's say, 1,055,000 reais. So we can consider that can be negotiated with to 970,000 reais approximately, an already decorated apartment. So of course we have to consider also, we take into account the 5% of the notary fees and taxes, property tax that investors pay when they transfer the property to themselves or to their company. So as setup value, we are considering a small amount here because as we have seen, the apartments are already decorated, so this is just a perfectionist touch in this very specific case. So we keep the numbers for the 66% occupancy rate, which corresponds to 20 days per month, and then 68 as the average daily rate. So we have these kind of numbers over here. So what is impacting over here is the amount of cost that lowers the rental yield from the gross to the net. So we are going from a gross of basically 9% to a net of 4.04%. I mean, this is a 50% reduction between the gross to the net. So it's pretty a big thing. So if we go to the long-term rental application, this is where the thing becomes interesting. So we can consider that the apartment can be leased, can be rented for, I mean, easily 8,200 reais per month, all right? Because here we see 7,500, 9,000, 7,800, 9,500. I mean, we can consider that they can be rented for 8,300 reais per month. that corresponds to $1,456 per month. I mean, be careful when you see this portal, because this is the rental itself. Then this is the package. This number that you see in this case is, or in this case, this is the rental, the rent plus the HOA and the local tax, basically. So property tax. Okay. So we can check here. We have a yield, a gross yield 9.61 that is given by this kind of rent. And then the interesting part is that if we compare this long-term rental scenario to the short-term rental scenario, I mean, with short rentals, the owners have to pay the property management fee of, we estimate here 18%, because in São Paulo it's ranges between 15 and 20%, depending on the agency that does this work. And then, of course, when you as an investor rent out an apartment with short-term rentals, you have to, it's your responsibility to pay the HOA fees, the utilities and cleaning and internet, all this kind of stuff. Whilst on the other side, when you rent it out in Brazil to a tenant that rents it for the long term, he is responsible for the HOA's fees and the property IPTU, utilities, cleaning and that stuff. You have to pay just the maintenance long term. So this means that removing these costs, in this case, with the data that we have, the realistic data that we can find online today, would reduce, I mean, the gross to net before taxes yield down to 8%, which is much more, is 50% more compared to the net that we have with a shorter application in this very specific case. This is not always the case. Usually is the contrary, but it's interesting to learn that in this case, in this case study, it has given this result. So the lesson today is not always is the shorter rental the best way. Sometimes, doing the numbers, which is always fundamental, we can reach the conclusion that in some cases it can be better to apply it long term. So another interesting point is that the price of these apartments, it was much lower a couple of years ago when they were delivered. So I've seen it with my eyes. In 2023, it was around, I've seen many listings online, and they were around 650,000 reais, which is a much lower price compared to what it is today, the value of this apartment. So of course that also the taxes would have been lower, and then also the setup decoration value in this case would have been higher, because we are counting in the previous analysis we counted 20,000 reais, which is because we had considered our already decorated apartment. Here you would have had to decorate it from scratch, so considering at least 3,000 reais per 29 square meters. All right. I mean, the rentability, I mean, the yield is pretty much the same, maybe 10% higher if an investor bought in 2023. However, the interesting part is that they would have gotten the same or a slightly higher yield, however, putting much less money in this box, in this investment. All right, so $40,000 around $30,000 less, basically, which is pretty interesting. I mean, also timing is very important for these kind of investments. Timing when you put the money into the investment. I mean, this today is a pretty interesting analysis, because investing in the Brazilian Manhattan makes sense. These are high ticket apartments, a small apartment with a high price. However, we are in the creme de la creme area of São Paulo here, and you as an investor would rent out to the elite, to the Brazilian top 0.5% elite in this kind of neighborhood district area in São Paulo, that is Itaim Bibi. However, in this case, we have seen that the long-term rental scenario makes much more sense than the short-term rental scenario. This is a one-bedroom apartment located in Itaim Bibi in the DSG building, one of the best I've stayed at so far. So this is made of one main area where you basically can cook and relax, watch TV and work. And then there is the night area, I mean the bedroom and the bathroom over there, the restroom. Here there is also another basic toilet. Still, it's a nice design, I mean, still very basic. In Brazil it's very common to have, they call it 1.5 bathrooms. This is when you invite someone over and you can let them use that one specifically. So the kitchen is very basic in this case. I always prefer, if you have the space, install the four places stove. I mean, it's better to cook. Here is as it is an Airbnb. They've put also in English the instructions. So here, going over here, this is the day area. I mean, especially I love this desk to work and be productive. Whenever you can, it's always better to get an apartment with the working space oriented against the sun, so you don't have the reflex on the screen. I mean, that's very annoying when you work a lot. So what is nice here is the view as well. Here there is a new building, just this not just finished, but is in the final stages, I would say. Here, I mean, really modern, a big one, with a nice pool, nice facade as well. This is a burger restaurant, and here it's looking on the avenue here, Joaquim Floriano. We have plenty of LEDs in this apartment, which makes it more cozier, and also more modern. We have 2 air conditioners. Okay, so here as well other LEDs, lights. So this is way better than a studio when you rent it out for a long term, because it's I mean, it's more common that someone that stays in an apartment like this one and in a building like this one, they are likely to stay for a longer period and not think about probably, okay, I'm gonna get a studio and then see if I get a cheaper one, or if I get a bigger apartment in a cheaper area, and so on and so forth. This is the advantage of an apartment that has 1 bedroom as well. Here we have the bathroom with a backlighted LED mirror, and then over here we have the shower. Still nothing too fancy over here. As we are already here, I mean, I got this wine in Argentina. Give it a try. I mean, this is an amazing wine, depending on your taste, of course.